Hi, my name is Strub, and this is my internship video with Tradition Home Group. Alright, so a little bit about the company's history. It is called Tradition Home Group, and it was started and created by these two lovely ladies, Nicole, who's on the right, and Shannon, who's on the left. They started the company back in January of 2001. Then it was just a mainly real estate focused company. But since then, they've expanded to more than just that because of Nicole's creativity side. And they are now also an interior design store. So, kind of the purpose of not just the company, but all the employees and their missions there as employees is that I asked them, and they all said at Tradition, one of their main focuses in their job is that they try and promise to give their best to all the customers and all the friends that they can help out, and they try and work as hard as they possibly can with all the experience and grit they have to give to their clients, and they try to make sure that they have pure priority and the highest quality of work that they can give to those clients to make them feel like they're family and they're welcome. So just a little bit of like extra information about Tradition, maybe little things that you didn't know. So they are a privately ran company because they're pretty small, so they're not publicly traded or anything like that. They don't have a stock or anything like that. They also do the interior design, like I said earlier. They're not just that real estate. So it's Tradition Home Group is the real estate company, and then their interior design store is Our Favorite Things. So it's two different companies run by the same lovely people. So they have the two facilities just for Our Favorite Things, and both in Parkville, Kansas City-ish kind of side. So one's the store, obviously, and the other is the warehouse where they hold like all the decor and furniture and the stuff that they can bring into the store to show off. So like I said, what I think makes these two such a great duo is because they've known each other since high school and they're best friends, and that really can build a relationship, and since then they've grown this company to over 20 current employees. So a little bit about like the chain of command. Basically, you have Nicole and you have Shannon at the top. They're obviously the owners and they run everything. Then you have Abby, who is also my supervisor. We like to call her the chaos coordinator because she's the director of operations, which means she makes sure everything's running smoothly, and if you need help finding anything or getting anything done, you come to this girl because she knows just about everything. And then under her, it's Gina and Lindsay. So Gina is like the client care manager, making sure all the clients are kept up on and make sure they're treated right. She'll also do like pictures and measurements for houses when they go up for sale, which I luckily got to be a part of and got to see a house and measure it with her. Then you have Lindsay. She's the sales manager. She makes sure all the sales are going up and everything's running smooth with that, and making sure everything's out on the sales floor. Then you have Colleen, who's like the inventory manager, the online store manager. She makes sure everything on the online store is well kept and everything has tags, and make sure everything is up to date on the inventory, things like that. Then of course you have Luke and Ethan. Those two are like the muscle. They basically, you need something moved or something hung up in your house, you call them and they come do it for you. But they're technically part of the logistics team. Then of course you can't forget about Lindsay, the other Lindsay, who's a social media. She runs like the content of all of our social medias on Facebook and Instagram, and TikTok and things like that. And then you got me on the way bottom. Here's like what I kind of do in a day-to-day is me going through the entire online store, making sure all the pictures are nice and clear, and checking to make sure all the dimensions are right. So one of the more important parts of a company is the policies. You have to make sure you have policies that are enforced and well met. And so the little thing about Tradition is that they're not a huge company. They're not like a big company like I said that's like publicly traded and things like that, like any other large company. So for Tradition, they really don't have all the big policies like in a big policy book like you'd think. It's more, they have a few. They do have a sick leave policy, and then they have paid times off. So that, of course, that helps, but doesn't cover everything. So what I've heard from all the other employees is that they mostly just use their loved ones benefits, which if it works out for you, go right on ahead. But since they don't have these policies, I asked and see how they would handle all the policies that should be in a book or things like that. So when it comes to like hiring and firing, they said that you should always just be upfront and honest, but still be professional and have this sense of care and fairness, but at the same time being professional and have empathy. For a more serious note, in the workplace, if it comes to a sexual harassment kind of a deal, they said they would take it very seriously, but they would not go straight to the police first, but rather try and fix it or figure out the problem and terminate it themselves so they can uphold the reputation that they have of the business, so it doesn't come out to the public and they don't lose jobs or customers. So for a little bit about the employees' benefits, like I said, since it's a small company, they really don't have any big ones like health insurance or 401k plans, but they do have like sick leave, which isn't really a rule, but at Tradition, they're like a family, so they try and recognize and understand if people need time off, or if they're in the hospital, or if a family member's injured, or things like that. And honestly, when it comes to the paid times off or sick leave or things like that, it really just depends on the amount of work hours that you have in to compare to how much your sick leave is. Okay, my name is. Here is a little interview with my supervisor Abby about some professional skills that you could have for this internship.
Well, Strub, this is Abby Best, my supervisor at Tradition Home Group, and we're going to be asking you a few questions this morning.
Perfect.
All right. So, number one, what's an essential professional skill needed at this internship?
I would say you need adaptability. There's a lot of things that go into real estate, and for those of you that don't know, our real estate team has a retail store. We also do interior design and consultations for clients, so it's kind of a little bit of a spillover. But your day is never the same. Anything that you could have planned out for your day could come crashing down because of fires that you need to put out on a daily basis. If it's real estate, it could be that a closing's falling through, or you're having trouble with something with inspections. You definitely need to be able to go with the flow and not let that get you rattled. So yeah, I'd say adaptability and multitasking for sure.
Yeah. All right. Abby, what have you done to master this essential skill needed here?
I think a lot of it is experience, but I would definitely say that something that helped me was working in the restaurant industry. I was a bartender and a server. You have to deal with all sorts of people, both that you work with and that you're helping. It causes you to get out of your box because you're having to go up and talk to people. So maybe if you're more of an introvert, that kind of helps you there. Problem solving is fast paced. There's just a lot about it that I think are good skills for anyone to have. So whether you're serving, bartending, or even a busser, I think it's good for people to work in the service industry because it definitely gives you a lot of those interpersonal skills.
Yeah.
Yeah, and adaptability is one of them. You don't know if you're going to get triple sat. You just have to roll with it. You can't let that ruin your mood. It just is what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And does that fall into both the real estate side and the storefront side?
Absolutely. I think it could fall into any profession, to be honest. I think it would be helpful.
Yeah. Do you think adaptability is more so towards real estate or more so towards like meeting with people in a store?
I'd say if you're focusing on the back end of the store, it's probably even. With real estate, you just kind of never know what role you're going to be playing. Is it, you're helping somebody through a home inspection? Are they a first-time home buyer and maybe they have buyer's remorse or they're nervous because this is the biggest decision of their adult life and it's a lot of money? And so you're playing therapist, or you're trying to problem solve because the sellers refuse to do something for an inspection repair. And so you're trying to make both parties happy. There's a lot that goes into it with trying to adapt yourself to the different role that you're going to need to play in any given situation.
Gotcha. Okay. Last question here for the essential skill. What advice could you give me or a future intern to master that essential skill?
I think a lot of it comes with time and experience, but I will say, again, restaurant jobs are fabulous for anyone. But I think when people give you criticism, whether it's good or bad, you may take it personally, but if you can just let your ego not get in the way and kind of push through and think, okay, well, I need to do this in the future, it's just going to make you better and it's going to make you more adaptable in the long run. Yeah.
So a little bit before we get into this end result that you see right now, I want to kind of go into what I did in the internship a little bit more, or what you could be possibly doing at this internship next. So like some of the daily roles that I usually do, or some of the daily responsibilities that I do, is that I usually try and turn all the lights and all the electrical candles, getting the store all alive and ready and set for when it opens at around 10. Some responsibilities that I take on for myself that I've given myself around now are those like lights and things like that. But I also try and when I have the time, I try and vacuum and clean the conference room where they usually consult with clients and things like that. I'd vacuum and I'd sweep and I'd clean off the table and things like that. Some pretty cool jobs that I got to do, or some special ones that I've handled before, is gotten to reorganize everything, like from glasses to fabrics all the way to furniture. So that's just a few things that I've done within the internship. And so, like I said, for the result of this internship, it was really great. Loved everything about it, the people. But a little that I've learned from them were some very few basic things, but really important things to carry on with. One of the most important things that I learned was from the owner, Nicole. She told me that the number one thing to try and do within this kind of job is to be efficient with your work. You need to always try and get things done with a purpose, and so you're never behind, and so you can get more things done, more tasks, so you can help everybody else up in the long run. Another thing was I got to tour and take photos and do measurements, like I said earlier, for this house, so they could put it up on the market. So it was cool that I got to help out with that. And always taking everything that they give you as a purpose. Like you're always doing something for a purpose. And like the one last thing that you should always try and do is to always try and be flexible with what you're given, with any kind of task that you're given. Try and be flexible and open and understand, okay, hey, maybe this could help me